Greetings, folks. Welcome to another episode of The Launch Space. I'm here today with Burke, Holland, our illustrious guest. Greetings. Before we get into intros, I just wanted to say for the folks who are out there on the Microsoft Developer YouTube channel, welcome. Also, if you want to join us over on Learn TV at aka.ms/LearnTV, you'll be able to interact with Burke today. We got a pretty casual show set up. You know, yesterday we had a show on Learn TV all about static web apps on Azure, and there were 2.5 hours of content. They did a really good job. We're going to follow up with something a little more casual. And Burke, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, thank you, Brian. First off, I'd just like to say how much I enjoyed your intro music. It was really good. Slam it. It's a bop. I like it. Hey, everybody. My name is Burke, and I have a proposition for you today. And that proposition is this. Against my better judgment, I'm going to try to build an application from scratch to show you all the different things that Azure Static Web Apps can do, right? So we're just going to look at it in action, but we're going to get kind of deep with it. So my goal is to build an app with an API, with authentication. And here's the kicker. I don't have any snippets. I'm actually going to use GitHub Copilot for this. So GitHub Copilot is a new AI that GitHub has released that is built on with the GPT-3, I think it is, Brian. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about now. I'm in the realm of, I don't know anything about AI.
It's one of the GPTs.
One of the GPTs, yeah. And it basically, they ingested all of GitHub, and this thing now knows everything that GitHub knows, and it's supposed to be able to help you code. And so you're going to get to see that as I code. This is a terrible idea. Don't ever do this. I have no backup plan here either. So if things just go south, it's just going to be, quite the show for you. So not for me. For me, it would be terrible.
People watch car races for a variety of reasons. Some of them watch for the winner. Some of them watch for the crashes. So we'll see what happens here.
Right. Could be either or. Both are good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Real quick, pricing, James, for static web apps. There's a pricing page. If you just Google it, there's a free tier, and then there's like what we call a standard tier that has some additional more enterprisey features, which is like $9 a month, but pretty affordable when you compare it to a lot of other stuff in Azure. You're not supposed to say that, but it's true. It's true. Okay.
Oh yeah. I have a blog that runs brianbiz.com, and it runs. I haven't been charged a penny for it yet. Yes.
When you go viral, then we're gonna get you.
Yeah, any day now. So, you want to tell us a bit about yourself as well?
I mean, it's boring. I'm a web developer. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, which is the greatest city in the world according to science. Again, that's science. I didn't say that. I write mostly JavaScript. We're gonna work in React today. If you don't like React, please don't leave. Just picture your favorite language there instead. We're not going to do, it's not about React though. It's about the application. So that's a side note. I do music when I'm not coding because I live in Nashville and it's a legal requirement. Again, I don't want to do that, but they will come by and ask, right? Have you played music today? No, get out. And so I think that's it. Want to know anything else? I lost my hair when I was about 30. Which was like last year.
Right. Yeah, same here. So do you want to turn that Coke bottle around? I don't know if there's any requirements for this kind of stuff.
Are you serious?
The brand, I don't know. Yeah, well, there we go. That made it even better. But yeah, there you go. I don't know if they have to blur that stuff out or what, but it's I'm being all official and marketing right now.
Okay. I have to drink it like this.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go because we only have an hour and 4 minutes are already gone.
Sure. So just a reminder as well. So this is a live broadcast. Please do bring your questions, comments, anything you want to add over at aka.ms/LearnTV. And yeah, we have about 56 more minutes left. If you have any questions, just LearnTV, aka.ms/LearnTV, drop them in there and I will pop on the screen and ask Burke the questions. And I'll let Burke take it away now. Thanks.
Okay. Is my screen up? I'm going to flip back for a second. We're going to get some inception. Yes, it is. All right. Okay, so like I said, we're going to start from scratch. The first thing we want to do is create our application. So I'm going to use Create React App to do that. And what's the name of this show? Launch Space? Let's just call it Launch Space. And if you've not used this npx tool before, it basically allows you to use an npm package without installing it locally. So normally to create a React app, you'd have to install Create React App globally, and then you'd have to run Create React App. But npx allows you to run anything directly from npm. So it sort of like downloads it, you use it momentarily, and then after you're done using it, it's gone. So Create React App actually doesn't exist on my machine. So if we did Create React App like this, it would just fail because it's not there. But npx allows me to use it. Okay, more than you wanted to know about that. So what did we call it? We called it Launch Space, I think. Yeah, there it is. All right, so let's move into that folder, and then let's open up VS Code. All right. This is new, this workspace security. You're going to see this in VS Code now. Basically, we don't want you to open projects you don't trust without opening them in restricted mode, because arbitrary code could execute and hurt you in various ways. Wipe out your hard drive, email your internet history to people. I don't know, whatever bad code does. And so that's new in Visual Studio Code. It's called Trusted Workspaces. Okay. I also have Copilot here, which you can see it's an extension. You can sign up for the beta of Copilot, the preview. I think they're ready for that. And you just find that as an extension, the extension gallery. And the theme that I am using is the GitHub theme. Big fan of GitHub, apparently. They have a dark and a light theme. This is the light theme. I think it's dimmed. Yeah, so the dimmed light theme. Okay. So this is our React app. Let's just go ahead and run it the way that we would run one, which is with npm start. And this will fire up a browser, and we'll be able to see our React app. Okay, if you've done React before, this is what you get out of the box. No surprises here. This should look very familiar. Now, when you deploy a React app, you actually need to do a step before you do that, right? So normally you have to do npm run build, and what that gives you is an optimized production build. And it creates this build folder here. And inside of that is your index HTML, all of your assets, and then your minified JavaScript and CSS. So all you get out the end of a React app is HTML, JavaScript, CSS, images, fonts. And this is why we call them static, because they don't change on the server. There's no PHP or something that makes a request to a database, assembles a page, and then gives it to you, right? The stuff is what it is. But there is a build step. And so what you really want to do is get this build folder onto Azure. And so let's use Static Web Apps to do that. So first, I'm going to delete this build folder because I don't actually want this in my project. But we need to get this thing. First, I want to put this in GitHub. So let's go ahead and so we've got an initial commit here. We just need a repo to publish it to. So I don't know if you know this, but you can just say, in fact, if we just click this button down here on the bottom, where it says publish to GitHub, you can publish directly from Visual Studio Code to GitHub, right? So it's uploading my files to GitHub. We can open it. All right, so now my project's on GitHub. Cool. All right, so let's create our static web app and get this thing deployed. Now to do that, I'm going to use an extension of Azure Static Web Apps. You can find right here. And when you do that, you get this Azure icon in your sidebar with your subscriptions. And so I want to create a new static web app here in this subscription. So let's do one and call it Launch Space. It's fine. It already knows it's using my project name. And then it wants to know, well, which one of these libraries are you using, these frameworks? We're using React. And then it wants to know, where's your application code? Well, ours is in the root, so that's fine. We'll take that. And because we picked React, it knows that the location of our build output will be this build folder. So we'll pick that. And that's it, right? So it's creating the static web app just like that. And we'll go ahead and remove this. Okay, so the static web app has been created. And before we take a look at that, what I want to do here is make a quick change to our application, sort of our first change here. So let's do this. Let me go ahead and create a new branch here. And what I want to do is say we're going to update the logo for this application. Then inside of our app file, let's do that. So we have a image here, which corresponds to this spinning React logo. And let's just swap it out here for a different image. And I know I said I didn't have any snippets, but I kind of lied. I just have this one here for a new image. So sorry, already lying to you. And then I'm going to take that logo out because we're not using it. And then if we go back over, we should. Oh, we're not running. Let's fire it back up and run it again. All right, so now this is our Static Web Apps logo, and it's spinning. I don't know. Maybe we don't like that. Let's stop the spinning. That's really going to bother us. Let's just take this out. That's better. Okay. All right, so we've made a change here. But what about our static web app? Well, when we created that static web app, I don't know if you saw, but we got a new file in our project, and it's an actions file. And this actions file instructs Azure or GitHub to run specific jobs on commit and on new pull requests. And here's some of that information we put in, application. This we'll talk about in a minute, in our build folder. And so what all this does is it launches a process in GitHub Actions to build and deploy our application to Azure. So this is our app here, and we can actually check out the status of this from within Visual Studio Code. So if we look at our actions here, see it says CI, CD. Right now, it is on the step. Let me build and deploy jobs. So right now it's setting up, it's building and deploying right now. And I wonder, I think, can we view this action on open in GitHub? Yeah, so we can actually go directly to the action and check out our build and deploy job. So let's do that. And let's see if GitHub will give us a little bit more information here about our app. Make sure I put my soda back. I'll put it over here, like completely out of sight. All right, so we're getting some logs now. It's in progress. And we'll just wait for our action to run here. Let's see. And again, this YAML file is added by Azure. So if you don't know how to write YAML or actions files, like join the club, I don't know how to either. But this is done. And if we go into our build and deploy and come down to the bottom here, it says you can visit your site at Lively Sand. So let's do that. And boom, there's our application. All right, so we have made a change here to update our logo, right? So this is production, this is development. So let's do this. Let's check this in and just say we want to update the logo, all right? So we've got a branch here for update logo, which I'm going to push in. And then what I want to do here is let's go back to our GitHub repo here. Let me show you something. If we go over to this right here, I'm going to create a pull request for this branch that I have, like a feature branch. Makes the logo more awesome. Subjective. Go with it. Yeah. Create a pull request. Now, when I create this pull request, you'll see it's all ready to go, and then all of a sudden something happens. What's happening? Static Web Apps is building this again. Okay, but it's building this specific branch. And what it's doing is it's building me a preview so that I can see what it actually looks like before I click merge, because when I click merge, it's going to get deployed to production, right? And we'll replace our production site here. All right, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. Okay, so that's our React app. Not super fancy, nothing incredible or mind-blowing there. The next thing that we would want to do in an application is we want to probably add an API, right? Because these front-end apps, They're very interactive. They're JavaScript driven, but you have to have an API to call. And sometimes you have an API, right? Maybe you have an existing API, but maybe you need to write one. In the case of Azure Static Web Apps, we build that into the platform, and you can add an API directly to this project that uses Azure Functions as the API. So let's do that. I'm going to come over here to the sidebar again, to the Azure Static Web Apps extension, and then I'm going to click on this lightning bolt, which creates a new HTTP function. And then I get to pick from these languages. I know some of you probably want me to pick this, but I'm not gonna. I'm sorry. What about this? Is that better? We'll pick that. And then it wants a name. And we don't have a complicated API. What I want to do here is just pass a message back. But you can imagine that maybe in a real world scenario, we'd pass information from a database. So what's happened here is that this extension has created for us an API folder, and inside of it is our function get message. If you don't use Azure Functions, just bear with me. It's pretty simple. Every function has a folder. Inside of it is a file, and that file has an HTTP trigger. And then inside of here, you do something and then return some stuff. So this is where we're going to start to see some Copilot. So let's get into it. So what we want to do here is just return. So we want to return a string with a message. Okay. And then this is Copilot. So Copilot is kind of filling this in for me, although we don't need this because we already have it down here. So let's just not do this. And I tell you what, let's just do this. Let's do const message equals hello launch space. And then we want to return this as part of the body here. So let's just do message equals, and then this is Copilot, which is completing for me. So thank you, Copilot. All right, now we want to run this, and we provide you, provided you have the Azure Functions core tools installed, we give you everything that you need to run that from within Visual Studio Code. And so you'll just automatically get this launch configuration here. It just shows up. And so we're just going to click play there, get this thing started. And so now we've got two terminals running. This is the new terminal tabs in VS Code. So we've got React running here, and we've got our API running here. And here is our endpoint. So let's just click this and check the message. Right? So that's what we want. All right, very simple JSON response, or JSON if you like to say things incorrectly. That's so mean. I'm very sorry. Maybe JSON is the right way to say it. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I don't really like the way that this is formatted because it's not very RESTful. I'd rather this just say message here and let the get verb define it. So let's go to our function file here.
Hey, Burke.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, we had a question there. Hope you don't mind me jumping in here. YAML file. I already know the answer, but I thought I'd ask you, the YAML file, can it be edited?
Yes, it can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can go in here and break this thing.
Sure.
But yeah, if you change it and put in new things, maybe you want to run tests or do other things. Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah. And also the other question was about Azure DevOps. Is it compatible with Azure DevOps? We actually did a whole show on that a couple of episodes ago. I'll put a link in the chat here. So you can find out more info about that. The quick answer is builds are handled, releases will be handled soon. So thanks for those questions. For more questions, join us, aka.ms/learntv. I'll ask more, and sorry to interrupt you, Burke, there.
That's okay. Yeah, so that's a great question. Yes, DevOps is, we always get that question. Like, what about DevOps? Yes, DevOps is there. All right, so we've got our function here. We've made it a little more RESTful. Let's run that again. This time we should get something that's a little easier on the old eyeballs. Yeah, look at that. Look how nice that looks. So just jump out there and make sure that works. Perfect. Let's check on our action, which is over here, which is our pull request. So we can see what our preview is, see if it looks, yep, that looks right. We like that. So we'll merge that pull request, confirm the merge. And then you guessed it, another action has kicked off, which is now deploying this to production. All right, so what I want to do here, though, is let's go back to master. Oh, I have local changes. So let's do. You know what? Yeah, let's send it back. Let's go back. Let's say add the API, and then let's go back to. All right. Whoa. Look at all that. 183 changes. What is all this? It's kind of nuts. What happened there? Let's do this. Let's reload. API. Oh, you know what it is? It's all the stuff from the Azure functions. So let's see. Add API. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can get it in. All right, so we pushed our API up. Oh, that's very interesting. It's because I created the API on the other branch. See, you get to watch this in real time. Let's do this. Let's go back. Let's create our API again. What was it? We would call it TypeScript. We said it was get message. We wanted to pull this out. All right, we said const message equals hello launch space. And then we're going to return a message. Yep, that's right. Const message. And then we changed the function here to be just a get, and we changed the route. Doing a little rework to message. Okay. Let's do, and I don't know why, get ignore. Yes. All right, so let's make sure this still works. We got our front end running. Let's run our back end, attached to node functions. All right, good. Okay, it's working. So now what we need to do is we need to wire up our front end to call this endpoint. How do we do that? Okay, let me show you how you do it in React. What we're going to do here is, well, first of all, we need to import some things from React. So what we want to do is import use effect. Okay, we want that, and we also want this is Copilot helping me here, and I want use state, which I had to pull in. Okay, and then what we're going to do is let's just do const. Yeah, that's kind of what I want, but I don't want count. I want message. Yeah, so this is Copilot doing this. It's just guessing what I want, which is kind of crazy. It's like kind of crazy good. I was shocked. So next we want to do use effect. Okay, so Copilot again, anticipating that's what we want. And then here, no, let's tell what we want. Call the fetch data from the /API/messages endpoint. It even completes that. And then no, now we want to do const message. Yeah, that's kind of it. Const message equals fetch API/messages. That's right. That's what we want, right? But we want to actually await this. And actually, let's do this. Watch this. Create a method that gets a message from the /API/messages endpoint. Okay, so then we want, let's see, it would be like async function get message. Yes, that's what I want. This is all Copilot. Yes, all of that is right. Incredible, freaking incredible. Okay, so what happens here is use effect in React gets called when the component loads, right? So any code that's in here gets executed. So what we want to do here is just call get message. And then what this is doing is it's creating a message object that we can access in our markup. That's all it's doing. So let's just come down here and say we want to pull in the message, right? And click save. Okay, so let's run this. Should be already running locally. There we go. So let's refresh. And of course, we don't see our message. And let me take out that learn React because I don't want that. It's going to conflict. Make this an H1 because we're super proud of it. Okay. It's not working. And the reason why is if we go to the network requests, /API/messages returns what? What does it return? It returns this page because React apps handle all of the routing, right? So if we put API messages here, we just get this, we just get the React app. Okay. It doesn't know to route this here over to our function, which is running on localhost 7071. But when we push this thing up to Static Web Apps, all of our API methods are available at /API. We just do that magic for you. So to make this work locally, we provide an emulator for you called the Static Web Apps emulator. Let's open a new terminal instance here. And what we want to do is just start it. So it's just SWA is the name of the emulator. You would just do npm I Azure Static Web Apps emulator. I think it is. Anyway, you can look for it, but it's SWA once you install it. And then you can see I'm going to start the front end at localhost 3000 and the API at 7071 and press enter. And this is going to go ahead and fire up an emulator for us. And it gives us a new URL. So we're going to click on this. And now if we come out here to our application, we're still not getting our message. Let's see what's happened here. Let's refresh messages 404. Let's see here. Is our, oh, you know what? Is our backend running? It is, right? Localhost 7071. Let me see here. Oh, message, not messages. Pay attention, Holland. Better. So now we're getting our message back from the function. So now we have an API. So let's get our API in to GitHub. Yeah, it's fine. Let me just go ahead and add our API. So this adds the API, and then we'll just deploy this, right? And every time we do this, it kicks off an action in our GitHub repo over here, adding API right there. So now our API is being added. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to do here is show you how to use the built-in authentication and authorization inside of Static Web Apps. So in an app, you would want people to be able to log in, or you would want to know who they are at least. And then you might want to lock down specific routes or views or endpoints depending on who they are or are not. So let me show you how this works in Static Web Apps. What we want to do here is first add a banner here. And I know I said I wasn't going to use snippets, but I'll add again just because I'm sorry. You don't want to watch me type this. And then, so this is going to add a login button. But what I also want to do here is I want to take the opportunity to dress this app up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this for just a second. And I'm going to install a CSS framework called Bulma. I haven't heard of Bulma before. Check this out. Watch this. Bulma.io. This is free. This doesn't even have anything to do with the stream. If you haven't heard of Bulma, it is, in my opinion, the best CSS framework. Super easy to use. Very easy to use. And they even have like a thing if you're coming from Bootstrap to help you out. I don't know where it is. It's near somewhere in the docs. Okay. So I'm going to install that, and then I want to include it over here in our project. And to do that in React, what you do is you just say import, and then I want to import Bulma/CSS/Bulma Bulma.css. That pulls in our CSS framework, which is not quite done downloading. I don't know why it needs all this other stuff, but we'll give that a second. So what we've done is we've added a CSS framework with Bulma here and added that to the app. And then I've added some markdown that's going to take advantage of some of those classes. And it's just going to give us a nice login button here. And we could say, we'll actually change this so it say is primary, which changes the color. Then let's go ahead and start it again. And provided we did all that correctly. And again, this is localhost. We want to run over here on 4280. But you can see there it is. It's quite large because I have I have the resolution is jacked up to like 125 and then 125 in the browser, which is like why it looks so cartoonish there. But let's fix it a little bit. Like if we were to let's move out a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. And then let's fix our I don't want this like background color here. Let's just make it all the same color. And then I don't want to force the text to any specific color. So let's just do that. All right, so now we have a login button and we want people to be able to log in. And in Static Web Apps, we provide you with these built-in endpoints. One of them is auth.auth, and then login, and then the provider that you want, the social provider. So here we'll use Twitter, but we could use GitHub. That would work too. And I think there's Facebook in preview right now. Okay, so when you click this button, what's going to happen? Well, let's check it out. Let's click login. And because we're using the emulator, we stub out the auth for you. So we basically allow you to put in dummy auth information here. So I'm putting in a username and some roles here, which, admin, whatever. I'm gonna click login. And nothing has changed except for now there is an endpoint that we can call, which is, and I don't know if this will work from the browser, but you can call auth/me, and it gives you back this object, right, with a client principal. And this is all the data that we just did in the previous screen where we have a dummy object. And this is exactly the same data that you get when you deploy the thing and someone tries to log in, okay? Now I'm calling it login, but what we're really doing is just figuring out who someone is. That's all we're really doing here. And then deciding what we want to let them see or not see based on that. So let's go back to our app here. And what we want to do here is we want to get our users. So let's say user, and then, again. So again, this is Copilot. Thank you, Copilot, saving me time. Let's get another async function here. Let's create a method that gets a user. Oh, it already knows it's a user, but that's not API from .auth. And then the endpoint is me. Close. And then, kit user, we want that. Yes, that's almost right. Close, Copilot. Auth, okay. Yes, we do want that. And that's almost right. How do I get that back? Yeah, that's it. We do want this, but we want data/client principal. Principal? Yeah, that's it. Okay, and then we can call, we need to close this out. Yeah, that's right. No, but we don't want to pass in, we don't need message here. Let's just do this. What did I do wrong here? It doesn't like, here we go. So we want to get user. All right. What this is going to do is going to get and determine whether or not the user is logged in. And then depending on whether or not they're logged in, we want to do a couple different things here, right? So we could say that if the user exists, right, if it's not null, because it's going to be null if they're not logged in, then show these folks a log out button. Otherwise, show them the login button. So we need a log out button. So let's just copy this. And we'll just change this to log out. And to log out, it's pretty easy. Log in, you want to log out, right? Okay, cool. So all we're doing here is conditionally showing the login/logout button, depending on whether or not the user is logged in or logged out. And we know that by calling this endpoint to actually get information about the user. And again, that's built in. You don't have to do anything to get this. It just lights up automatically. It's just there. Okay. Let's go back to our app here. So I'm gonna refresh. And so now it says log out. So if I say log out, it should say log in, and it does, right? And I could say log in, say log in. Now it says log out. Okay. And to prove that we are actually logged in, let's do also like, we can just add a, what could we add? Add a nav bar item. How do I do that? I forgot how to emit. No, that's not what I want. You know what? Too lazy. Copy paste. Okay, and then inside of this, let's just put like a span. It gives us the user. Yeah, that's right. That was right. Copilot, you had it. Try that again. Span. Yeah. No. No, that's not what I want. That's what I want. Now it's angry at me. Why? Oh, because it wants this whole thing wrapped in something. Let's wrap it in a div. I had it and then it went away. There we go. All right, so now, yeah, there's my name. If we log out, no name, log in, you get the idea. What happened to our message? Our message isn't working anymore. Is it because I stopped the API? Yeah, it's fine. Does it work now? All right, cool. Now, what if we don't want people to see this hello launch space unless they're logged in? How do we do that? Well, let's do some refactoring here. What I like to do is I like to create a folder called components. In that folder, I like to put all my components. Create a new one called message. And let's make it a stateless function component. Again, this is React specific. If you're not a React person, just sort of zone out for a minute. It's not important. And then in here, what we want to do is we just want to return the message, just like we were doing in our other file there. And we want to return. Whoa. We want to return the message, which doesn't exist. Just bear with me. This doesn't exist yet. We'll add it. All right. So what we want to do here, we want to check and say that if the user exists, right? So if user, then, and actually we need to add our React hooks. So let's import from React. Let's get use effect. Yep, that's it. That's what we want. And use state. Did I want that? No, doesn't know. Okay. So here, we can just start copying over here because we already have this. So let's just grab this right here. And then we need our own use effect hook here. Oops. And then inside of that, what we want to do is that'll work. We want to move this code in. So here we need this get message. We're just going to pull this out. Pull it here. Right, so now we're saying we've got this async function get message, but we only want to call it if the user exists. So there's Copilot helping me out, right? So if user exists, we're going to call get message. If they don't exist, then we're not going to call the API at all, right? And they shouldn't see it. So now they should only see it if they're logged in, but we do have to refactor this just a smidgen. People still say smidgen? I do. I'm going to import our message component. Nice IntelliSense helping us out. And then down here, let's go ahead and take out our message here, and we can just add in that message component. And we do need to pass in the user. We're just passing that user object down, and that's how it shows up here. And that's how we can test it. Okay, so if we've done all this correctly, let's go back to the application and refresh. And we see the message. And if we log out, we don't see the message. So that's working, right? Now you can only see this if you're logged in, which is exactly what we want. Okay. However, we still kind of have a problem here. And that problem is that I could still just do this. Right? There's nothing stopping me from doing that. And that's a problem. We want to lock this endpoint down. We don't want you to be able to call it. We want some security here. So let me show you how we do that with static web apps. You can add a file to your project anywhere. The root's fine, called staticwebapp.config.json. And in here, you can define some rules that help you lock down certain routes. Like in our case, we don't want anybody to be able to call the API unless they're authenticated. Now, let me show you the easiest way to do this. Go over to your browser and type in static web apps example route file. And there's the first doc that shows up. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of this, they have this amazing sample routing file here. And you could just grab what you need out of here. So in our case, I tell you what, let's just grab the whole thing and paste it in, and then we'll just take out the stuff we don't want. So what I want is something like this. So see this, like this API, right? Let's take this out here. Tell you what, let's pull the rest of this stuff out too. Oh, we need a closing brace. In our case, what we want to do is allowed roles authenticated. Yeah, so we want you to be authenticated, and it's for anything on the API. You have to be authenticated in order to get it. So if you're not in the authenticated role, you shouldn't be able to get at this endpoint. It should be locked down for you. All right, so let's check this out. That's not what I wanted. That is. Because we've changed our configuration, let's go ahead and restart our emulator. There it is. And this will cause it to load the routes file. And then let's head over there. And all of this looks familiar. Although it's not calling our, what's happening? Why aren't we getting, oh, I bet, no, it's still running. Let's see what's happening here. Refresh this. Let's go to message, response. Oh, it's pulling back the actual site. Am I not in an authenticated role here? Anonymous, authenticated, admin, anonymous, authenticated. I'm in there twice. Well, that's odd. Let's see. Now what am I? I'm null. That's good. Let me just make sure. Let's pull in, go back to my routes file, make sure I did this correctly. Routes, allowed roles, should be right. We want everything on the API. Allowed roles authenticated. Let's try to start this again. Refresh here. Nothing. We got nothing. We log in. So I don't know what's going on here. It should be giving us back the data, but it's not. Which is strange. It's just giving us the app, which this basically means it's not, the rule is not testing correctly. Let me go back here. Just take this out maybe for a second. let's pull this. Tell you what. Yep, so that's now it's working again. So we got a bit of a problem. I tell you what, this is a good point for us to check in. Let's see, we added security. Push this. Let's put our file back. Our docs here. I feel like I'm so close, you know, just right on it. Let's, you know what, let's shut down the front end too, just to be on the, nope. That's not what I wanted. Okay, man, we got a lot of tabs open. 4280. Is it working? No, it's still not working. Anonymous, authenticated, admin. I wonder. Oh, you know what? I messed it up by putting a comma in there. Did you see that?
Yeah, the comma. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who didn't see, I put a comma here and broke it. So don't do that. There's no comma. So now we see hello launch space, and if we're logged out, then we don't see it. And we can't see it because we don't have access.
Sweet.
All right.
Hey, got a bunch of questions. I didn't want to interrupt you while you're on a roll. I have been very neglectful in my question asking duties here because I've just been really enjoying you doing this. I mean, this has been great. One of the questions about Copilot. So Copilot is part of GitHub.
That's correct. Yeah.
And to get it in Visual Studio Code, is there a special extension that you had to install, or?
You do. So first of all, you need to sign up here, and then you need to come into Visual Studio Code and search for, nope, that's not what I wanted. My extensions overrode. Just look for Copilot.
Yeah.
And there it is.
GitHub Copilot. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So, I mean, the answer is it's part of GitHub if you're using GitHub. And yeah, extend the extension if you want to add it actually into Visual Studio Code. Another question we had was about root domains. So, for example, before GA, you had to type www.yoursite.com to get to the site. Now you can handle just yoursite.com. It's a root domain or an Apex domain, as they're called. That does work now in GA. So if you're if you're using the previous version, you just have to redeploy, and it should work with the root domain. And you're going to have to change your links. I had actually played around with that, and I had my root domain working through my registrar for my domain name. I just had it forwarding to www, and it worked fine. But now it works through Azure Static Web Apps officially.
Yes, it works natively, which is nice. I think before we used to recommend that people use like this Cloudflare workaround. But you don't have to do that anymore. Yep,
sweet. A couple more questions here. Let me see. Someone's asking if you could deploy to static web apps without using GitHub Actions, and I can take a shot at that too. Yes, I mean, static web apps, you know, if you're using something like Hugo or something like that, you generate the files, and then you can use FTP or anything else, you know, anything you want to use. And Burke, I don't know if you have any expanding on that or.
No, although we do have, I don't know enough to speak intelligently about that. I know that GitHub works, and I know that DevOps works, and I know that there's a way to bring your own deployment token that we're working on.
Yeah.
But really, Anthony Chu would need to answer that question. I probably already said it wrong.
Okay, no, and I mean, you can just do it manually. You can, like, if you're using Hugo, you just generate the site. You've got the files in a directory. You literally just FTP them or whatever else you want to do. The thing about Azure DevOps and about static web apps is, or sorry, static GitHub Actions is that it actually generates the files for you and makes sure that they're going to actually work before you deploy them. So that's the advantage of using those. But you can do it old school. All these applications were built without GitHub Actions or Azure DevOps in mind, and you can actually just generate the static files and put them wherever you want through normal, traditional file transfer methods. So, yeah. We do have some other questions here. Let's see. We got a lot of activity over YouTube. If anyone wants to ask questions of us, I am monitoring aka.ms/learntv. That's our official chat there. And but over on YouTube, a few people did have questions, so I'll answer those as well. As somebody was asking, what is GA? Is that Google Analytics? No, it's generally, yeah, it's generally available, which means that we have different things. We have preview, which is our preview features, which you can't really count on. And then we have, well, you can count on them, but the things might change before it goes into being generally available. After things are generally available, it generally means that that the features are locked and going to be compatible with future versions from that point forward. Generally.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that we do that to y'all, that we use this like internal Microsoft terminology. GA, it means something to us. It doesn't mean anything in the real world. I apologize. Yeah, it's exactly what Brian said. It just means it's ready for production use. It's out of preview and ready for the real world. That's what it means.
Right. Other people are just complimenting Copilot. I mean, it is amazing. I mean, Copilot really does help with coding, as you can see right here.
It's so good, and it's hard to articulate how good it is, which is why I wanted people to just see it in action. Whenever somebody tells me that, like, oh, we have an AI assisted coding, I think, oh, of course you do. Right? Like, I've heard that before. It's the most fascinating piece of technology that I have seen in a long time. And it's in preview, and it just works remarkably well. I mean, you saw it guessing ahead at what I wanted to do. And the thing that's crazy about it is that sometimes you can't tell. You're like, is that Copilot recommending, or is that VS Code doing that? Because it's so seamless, like it's so integrated into the experience that it's unobtrusive. You don't know that it's there all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I'm too much of a fan of Copilot, and it's showing.
No, it's very amazing. So I mean, I remember Bill Gates talking about in the 90s, talking about how he was going to have code generators that replace developers. This was kind of a goal back then, and it just didn't happen. I don't think this is going to replace developers either. There's maybe someday you'll be able to take those ridiculous requests from a client and cut and paste those words into text editor, and it'll generate a website for you, but not going to happen for now.
No, we're a long way away from that, but we are at a spot where it can actually, it takes care of a lot of boilerplate for you.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not writing your. Yeah, I heard somebody say that we're going to get to the point where you can just be like, "Hey, write this app," but no, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
Write this app and bill my client. That's not. We're away from that. So, I was going to say as well. So, one question I don't know the answer to, perhaps you do. Does Copilot work in C#?
Yes, it works with all kinds of different languages. When I first saw it demoed, it was all Python.
Right. Yes, I've seen a lot of open source. Of course, C# is .NET open source now as well.
Let me show you, since we're on that, because I was doing this earlier, and I was like, I need JavaScript snippets. So hold on, let me see here. So it works everywhere. This is ridiculous. Watch this. So now I'm in a JSON file, right?
Yeah.
And let's say I want to do another, I have a demo and it's authentication, right? So now this is Copilot.
Yeah, nice.
And it's looking at this, and it's like, oh, maybe you want that? Yeah, that's exactly what I want. And then it knows I need a body. And then it's like, I don't know, maybe you want an auth container. It's really trying here.
Yeah.
But it's just insane that it works And it knows, description. Like that's crazy that it knows so much about a freaking JSON file. That shouldn't be possible.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Well, listen, while we were doing all that, we are now in production just to make sure this thing, because we've been in dev. So here it is in production. You can see when I log in, I get a message back, and I actually turn this into an app setting. So we can change this from here to something else. And I found out earlier that you can stick emojis in app settings. Like if you didn't know that, that's also for free. So
sweet.
Will that work? I don't know. Let's see.
I have two thoughts on that. First of all, who asked for that? And second of all, it's cool, I guess. So, yeah. Hey, one thing I want to say, do you want to highlight a little bit, go into that GitHub action? I just want to show people how you can connect static web apps to GitHub Actions as well.
Here it is. All right, do what?
If you go into the YAML file in your GitHub,
here.
Yeah. There we go. So in there's a secret. You see it right there, Azure Static Web Apps API token. So if you want to know how you actually authenticate, so no one in general can publish to your static web app, that's how you do it. If you go into your repo and settings secrets, there's an actual an actual secret that was created with a token which connects to the static web app. That's all automatically generated for you when you create this static web app repo.
That's right. Yeah. I haven't touched this file because I don't do actions.
Right.
And so if I touched it, it would break. But that's exactly right.
Yeah.
But if you were to do something like, let's say we were to take this thing and move, like, if we really broke this, right? Like say we want a new folder and called it web, and then we put all the source code for our website inside of web, then we would come in here and change this to web, right? And now it knows where the source code path is. It's changed. The front end app is now in the web folder. So yeah, you would make those changes right here. Yeah,
the nice thing is the secret itself is stored in GitHub Actions or in GitHub in their secret store. That way that, you can run from your phone if you want. You can change things or wherever, change clients, or a team can deploy, and the actual auth is handled where the auth takes place, which is up on GitHub Actions. So that's cool.
I just want to keep messing with Copilot. Create a function that generates a Brian Benz. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
It generates a unique ID for the current user. Okay, sure. I don't know. Unique ID for the app.
There you go. All right. Wow. Okay. That's amazing. And by the way, we just have a couple minutes left. So if anyone wants to get some more questions in, somebody did ask, is there a Copilot for Visual Studio, specifically 2019, but versions?
Oh, that's a great question.
No. Yeah. Well, I've worked too much with open source. I work with Visual Studio Code all the time, but yeah. I'm going to say, I would assume so. It would be a pretty big oversight if we don't have Visual Studio.
Surely there's I don't know the answer to that question. It's all Visual Studio Code, but surely there's a CLI or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know hardly any more about it than y'all do. I just happen to have access because I'm on some list. I just got an email. It's like, hey, you have Copilot access. And I was like, well, I'll be the judge of that. So I installed it, expecting to hate it. And I was like, that's amazing. I have to show this to people.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, so I did want to mention, I put it in the comments as well, but if you go to aka.ms / what is it today? SWAGA. It's in the comments anyway. If you look there, you'll find all of the links that we had today and all the details. But I just want to say thanks to Burke. We did a beautiful end-to-end Azure Static Web Apps demo plus extra super bonus Copilot demo, which is amazing. And that was wonderful. So I'm getting the message here that we need to wrap up. Thanks again. That was really good.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. And check out Static Web Apps, right? We do have a perpetual free tier for that. For I think you get like 10 apps there or something like that. And root domains, that's in the free tier as well. So
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here with me. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for watching another episode of Launch Space. Talk to you later.